Well, thanks for coming back to the channel. Just a quick one before we proceed with this. We went up to this farm, which is just outside Loughborough, a small village called Mountsorrel. We went because the new KK, my son, who is now part of the channel for camera work, let me just drop that one in there, camera work, remember that. He wanted to go up. He still has this thing about the smell and the noise and everything else from ice cars. Well, I've kind of surpassed that, but he kind of still likes that thing. So let him have his little 5 minutes. So he said, let's go up to Stonehurst farm and do a video and a small vlog on some of the very early classic stuff up there and the vintage cars. Well, yeah, although I wouldn't own one, I must say that from this point here. As you know, this channel is electric first, fossil fuel second, so everything in its place, and classic cars still have a place in society as we speak. So we went up there to have a look. It was a rocking hot night, around 26 degrees, even at the 6 p.m. when we were there, so we didn't stay too long. So before I go any further, let me just explain why I mean about KK and the new cameraman. He was meant to be filming this on the GoPro 10. You may see him in some of my filming. Well, none of that turned out. Yes, Mr. Cameraman, none of it turned out, did it? Now, it didn't turn out purely because, I'll give him his way, the SD card was faulty. So, no input from the new KK. This is all purely my bits that I took, which is a great shame. It could have been quite a hell of a nice post, but next time, make up for it. So, we'll have a look and see what it's all about. So, enjoy. Well, welcome back to the channel. Because of this one here, we've decided to come to a more historic, or should I say ice show, to get some ideas of what's still out there, what's doing, what isn't, and all the rest of it. Some of these cars I will have seen before, some I won't, so we'll have a walk round and see what there is.
It looks like the guy that was in the garage.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's that Chris's.
Yeah.
Now this one here, let me just... This, I believe, belongs to someone who I'm buying a house from. So, because this is the one I saw in the house on the drive. So if I can see him, I will say hello. But I'm not sure if he's going to be here or not, to be fair. We'll have a walk round, see what's what, and pick up what we think is worth looking at, and all the rest of it. Like I say, I'm bound to come across someone I know from the good old days. Two Jags. There is one that's EV converted now, actually, that's been around. That colour, I believe it is, which is now got a full EV conversion in that exact same colour. How much it cost him, I just do not know. Some people would never do it, some will. Ford Corsair, or Consul Corsair, one of the first cars. It's got the V8 in it, but in original spec, this was one of the first cars I ever had. It was a grey one. I paid £8 for it, with 2 months MOT left on it. Seriously, yeah, £8. And then I sold it for a tenner, and he never paid me the last final £2. There you go. And if you're watching this, Paul Fairbrother, you still owe me £2, because when I owned that thing there, or similar in grey, you never paid me in full. So remember that. Anyway, we'll move on. Triumph Stag, had one myself in white many moons ago. Had the V8 in it. Everyone didn't like the original V8 Stag engine because it used to overheat, but I quite like mine, and it was pretty much cock on with no issues. So I was lucky really that mine didn't have any issues regarding the engine overheating. So yeah. Like I say, mine was white, and I ended up doing all the rear wheel arches and everything else. Okay, more what I had and what I didn't have. Been there, done that with this. Had one of these. It was a 65 in orange with a white vinyl roof, and wasn't the GT350, wasn't the Shelby or anything, but just straight 6 with a 3-speed manual gearbox, which was a real pain. Moving on, never did have a vet. Kind of kept away from them, I don't know why, but I used to, didn't bother. Ford Fairlane. And it's a Skyliner. This would come all the way back into there falls flat, that rains up, all the rest of it. Guy used to own one from the West Midlands that I knew very well. I think he passed now. I don't know if it's his old car because it looks in the same colour. Could well be the same car, I've no idea. I wouldn't like to say. Pontiac Firebird. Had the Camaro twice, didn't have a Firebird. I had 2 Camaros back in the day. Your granddad had a car like that. Ford Escort Mark 1. He had it nicked off the drive, didn't he? Can you remember, Deb? He had his Ford Escort nicked off the drive. Your dad?
Oh, my dad did, yeah.
Yeah, Mark 1. I remember it well. Little Lotus MG, now full electric. As that one there owns, and we are going to be doing a review on his car very, very soon, so be ready for that one. Vauxhall's version of the Pontiac from the US, although that has got the scoops in it, which was standard on the American version. Been there in that colour, had one many moons ago. Ended up buying it quite cheap, selling it on after about 6 months. Remember that I had? I bet you can't, can you? A Volvo, bought from Birmingham. No, I didn't have it long. Eh? Same colour, exactly the same colour. Didn't have it long. Oh, I know. Tell me about it. My dad had one of these.
Yeah, your dad had one of them. Yeah.
My dad had one exactly the same, but in a dark blue. No, it was a dark blue.
Oh, dark
Yeah. It was a dark blue, and he let me drive it. If I got this right, I think the zoom's on here. Let me just.
Not when you took it to the Albion.
Eh? Yeah. And I took it down the. He went out for a drink and let me drive it back. I ended up smashing the side on a big concrete post. There you go. Beach buggy, been there, done that. Had a manta ray in a dark green fleck. What happened with mine was that the fuel tank rotted underneath, and it was all the bits used to come out from the fuel tank inside, and every 5 or 10 minutes I was taking out a filter that I put in line, and it was a nightmare. But I could never get it out, because to take the fuel tank out you had to take the body off the chassis, so I didn't bother, so I ended up selling it. So yeah, it was a manta ray. So just to reiterate why we're here, there is no electric cars here, but with the new KK coming on board, he still has a soft touch for obviously something a bit more noisy. So we're here just having a look at some of the classics that I've been into many years, had many of them, not so many British ones, more American. So yeah, that's basically why we're here. I'll spin you around again. So Peroni 4, Vixen, get yourself beer. A few more coming in. It's only on 4 till 7, Stonehurst Farm, just outside Loughborough. Had one of these, had a grey one, bought it in grey primer. It was done for the 1977 Jubilee. The guy had customised it, put wheels on it, put a 1.6 in it. I bought it, I spent a bit of money on it, nearly crashed it in going into Kegworth. Can you remember the grey one we had? Yeah, with the stripes down. And like I say, it was all done for the 1977 Jubilee. Nothing like that original one there, but yeah, how things have changed. Okay, turning around to something that really is not a so-called classic car as such as we call classics, but these will be if there's any left. When these came out, I did like them. I owned one for a short time, 2.5 V6. They weren't very quick. They were a heavy car for back in the day. But yeah, they were expensive as well for what they were when Ford bought them across. They were loaded up, had the leather and all the rest of it. But yeah, is what it is. It's good to see one in decent nick. They're all normally rotted away. Ford Cougar with the leather. Moving down the row a bit, we come to a Sunbeam Tiger. Ford actually supplied 260 V8s for these back in the day. They're a good looking car. Well, there was something that I never owned. Yeah, 260, it is a 260, I was right. Very nice nick, very good order. You don't see many of them, to be fair, especially with the 260 in. V8, just before the 289 was created, to be honest, from Ford, and then they had the 302, then the 351, and upwards from there. But yeah, nice colour, suits it. Now is a Triumph Dolomite. I did have one. It was mine was a yellow one, 4-speed manual, or didn't have the 5-speed or 4-speed overdrive. Can't remember now. It wasn't that colour, and it wasn't the Sprint. Mine was just a regular Dolomite. I owned it for a while and then sold it on. I'm going back again 50 years ago.
And then actually Will did say, oh well,
TVRs, never got into them, never wished for one. Small time made in Blackpool, then got sold off to a Russian millionaire who completely ruined the company. That was TVR. Back to my days of American car ownership, Imperial 55, as it says on the plate. Again, looks all original, not been played with at all. Nice to see them without being played with. Like I say, I got that one on when we first came in. Roof comes down on that one and goes in the boot. But let's see if Deborah remembers who had one. Deb, can you remember who had one of these? No? We hired his villa.
Oh, yeah. John.
John, yeah. I'm not even sure if that's the one or not.
John and Jenny.
John and Jenny, that was them. I'm sure that's the same car, because there ain't that many in the UK. Lincoln Continental, one of my favourite big old buses from the 70s and 80s. Yeah, they were good, weren't they? I loved them. It's all very straight inside, very clean. Supposedly low miles, I'd guess, as well. But yeah, porthole windows from Cartier, that was the designer. Ex-Florida car. Yeah, Mark 5. Like I say, my hardcore subscribers, I know it's all ice cars, but it's a bit of fun on a nice summer's night. Don't hurt anything or anybody, and I blame him across there. Yep, he's the one who wanted to come, so. TVR with the proverbial paint scheme that was a real bitch to do if it got a mark on it. Sunbeam, Ilman Imp basically. Yeah, that was more like me. My dad's was the van version of that which I showed you earlier on. Rear engined, quite troublesome actually, they weren't great. 4 Jags here today. British Racing Green, 2 red and the light blue one there. Ferraris, never really been into them. Chevy Astro 4.3 V6, had one in Burgundy. Had one of those, yeah, remember rightly. The 4.3 V6 I thought was a great engine, but obviously back in the day, some people hated them because they were a bit troublesome on the main bearings. But
The beigey brown is the big thing we had.
Brown colour.
oh, I bought it in Leicester.
Was it a Chevy?
Not Thompson
Yeah, big Chevy 350 V8. Yeah, bought it in Leicester.
Just reminded me of seeing that, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. Ford Capri, been there, done there. Had a 1969 3-litre V6 GT XLR. Never had that, but if you look at that now, that is a Tesla Roadster. That's exactly what the Tesla Roadster was before Tesla got his hands on it. So yeah, there's one, but can't call it an EV, but it ain't far off. That's the Lotus version. Okay, going to take a walk away from the cars, and there's normally a few down here as well, motorbikes and whatever. Get teas, coffees, espresso, something for the kids to play on, so always something to do family wise. It's the last Monday of every month, so if you do want to come up, it's Stonehurst Farm in Mountsorrel, between Corn and Mountsorrel, just outside Loughborough. So yeah, come up, it's a freebie, why not? It's a nice summer's night. What's this one? Morris. These are real old English stuff for my American viewers. There's the Austin, 1931, I believe, yeah. Then you've got Fraser Nash. Now, our American friends might know that one. And another Morris Oxford from back in the day. To my American viewers, if you're watching these, you've probably not seen many of these about, because these are all kind of British. Morgan Aero as well. And then, of course, the Ford. Now, you'd know these. It all started in the US, so I think you all know these. So yeah, and there you go. It's Ford Model T. But you can only order in one colour, and that was black. All pretty much original. Some of these only come out once, twice, maybe 3 times a year, if that. BSA. And another one here in black. Then of course you've got another MG, which I'll show you the insides. This has all obviously been redone and re-leathered, reupholstered. Lots of money gone into that, folks. Probably too much money. So, we'll have a walk out of the heat.
Very warmer in there.
Yeah, it probably is. Again, this is all seeable if you come up Stonehurst Farm. It is there to be coming up and have a look at. I don't know if this is reacting. It looks quite good on the screen, so in this very, very low light, it is working pretty well. Peugeot, wow. Hot hatchback, back in the day. Austin again. When we were kids, the rally runabout was the in thing to buy. They were something that, and the Honda 50s, I believe, and the Honda 90s, I believe. It's a 70. Okay, it's a 70. They were another one that we used to get hold of and rally about. And there's the other KK doing his bit with the GoPro. Hello. So, Austin Lily Sprite. But don't forget, this is all free to come up and see at any time. You don't get charged to come up here. Nearly went over there. So yeah, come back your way. It's worth a 15-minute to an hour walkabout. The sun is horrifically hot tonight. It's still about 25, 26 degrees. But in here it's nice and cool, so it's not so bad. It's a Farmer's Den tea shop and restaurant. Inside, we can give you a quick look. So if you do come down, this is where you can get your food. Nice and cool in here, I must admit. Again, if you do come up, there is a small farm shop as well. It's quite nice. So, always something to do, always something to see. And again, it's free. Free parking and free to get in. That ain't so bad, is it? Make the best of that. Well, that's it from Stonehurst Farm in Loughborough. Please come up, it's a freebie, free parking and free everything, so come up and take a look at what's here. It's worth a quick visit on a summer night, there's no two ways about it. So, by all means, come up and meet some folk who are into older cars. Back in the Tesla with the full aircon. Ooh, suits you, sir.